Hi, Capricorn. This is your reading for the week of January 20th to 26th. Now, Capricorn, after I started getting these impressions and pulling the cards and getting the story, I did go back and check some of the cards that I pulled for last week. And I noticed something I'd written beside them saying, is this a love story? And lo and behold, I think this is another one. What the image the guides gave me looked like was you sitting at a poker table, having your cards really close to your chest and looking up over them like this, like you're checking out what's going on, but really cautiously. Only the thing is, this isn't a game of poker where you're supposed to be bluffing. This is a game of Go Fish, where you ask very clearly, do you have any sevens? And the other person has to say yes if they've got sevens. And likewise. And so what I'm being, and then I saw this little fairy-like creature who I'm going to say is probably your joy guide or something. I don't know, but definitely somebody coming from the other dimension. And she's flitting over your shoulder like this. And what I'm hearing is, okay, so she's presenting as Tinkerbell. And what I'm hearing is, what is it they say in Peter Pan? Oh yeah, if you believe, Tinkerbell will live. Well, I feel like this is the spirit of love that's coming to you. Joy and love. Not just joy and love, but joy and love and the ability to live life, to be in life, as opposed to just be so protected that you're in this little containment theory where you're not really showing people your cards and you're not really willing to play the game. You're afraid to play the game. Well, what it looks like to me here is that this lovely little spirit is saying, if you don't play the game, you can't win. And if you do play the game, you can play it in a way where if you lose, you can at least be proud of the fact that you have played and that you're concerned about boundaries and you're concerned about barriers, but it is something that you actually have the ability to manage. You're so afraid that you won't be able to. And I don't know if this goes back to your childhood, how you were raised, where you had a sense of mistrust. But there definitely is a sense of you don't want to look as though you're too needy. There's a certain element of pride where you want to look as though you're in control. You think nobody knows you're kind of like this looking out over your cards, but people do. The people who know you, the people who are important to you know that you do that. Listen, I'm an earth sign too, and I really understand Capricorn. I really do. We like our comfort zones, and it's not always easy to step out and take a chance when there's a possibility that we'll lose our ground or that we will look ridiculous or be hurt or feel hurt. A lot of times I think sometimes it's pride, but a lot of times it's, well, what's pride? Pride is protection. Overly prideful is a protection against looking silly, So what you're being told really is you do have the ability to set the boundaries before you decide to play the game. That you can check in with every step of the way, and you're really being asked to experiment, to try to do this one differently. Now, of course, this is not going to be for every Capricorn, but I swear I don't do love readings, but if this isn't a love reading, I don't know what is. That impression is so strong with me. I feel as though you're really being encouraged to have confidence in the fact that you're going to be able to set the boundaries. And that one of the ways to get out of the fear is to move into a kindness in your heart. Because when we're in a kind state of heart, there's an easy quality to it. There's that sense of gentleness and empathy, and be kind with yourself, because the reality is When we're like this and we're not playing the game, we are not in a kind energy. It is a contracted energy, and kindness is a soft and open energy. So what you can do is you can put yourself into a state of kindness, and you can experiment with doing things differently according to the boundaries that are good for you. You don't have to go all out. We don't want you to be, a stalker or somebody who's going to, get down on one knee and propose in the middle of a restaurant on a second date. That's definitely not what we do want. However, it would be nice to be able, at least for you to be able to be in the same game with somebody. If it's a go fish, then yes, it's a back and forth. It's a give and take. And that's the kind of boundary that you want. You want that kind of thing that you can negotiate it. Now, if you are, I'm just throwing this in here. They're not saying this, I'm saying this. If you are in a relationship where it feels like a poker game and the other person is not really present with you and not really there, it might be time to walk. You don't want that to be something that is, a repetition of, something where you just play out your sense of abandonment. We definitely don't want that. And actually, I say that's me, not them, but that card just came up next to pride and responsibility. Responsibility, the ability to respond, not a burden, the ability to respond. So you've got the ability to respond, you've got experimentation, you've got boundaries and barriers, you've got, look at it with new eyes. Imagine that this was the first time you were dealing with this situation. How would you like to deal with it? First and foremost, stay in a state of kindness, which I'm going to show you here in case you want to take a shot of it. Can you see that? And I'm going to read it. Kindness carries a quality of gentleness, empathy, gracious consideration, and humaneness, both for you and the other person. It may be expressed in an attitude of sympathy, amiability, benevolence, or tenderness. Each time you have the choice to be right or kind, choose kind. Now listen, how does that play out in this game we're talking about, this card game? And giving yourself the opportunity to experiment. Right, the opposite of right is wrong, right? Sorry. So if we look at this in terms of kindness is about allowing for the fact that you may not be right about something, a judgment that you're making. You might be, but you might not be. So it's kind of a way of taking a wall down. Well, there you go, boundaries or barriers. Taking a wall down around a situation, softening the energy around it so you can see what's really going on and not jumping to, well, I'm right, I should be defended, or I'm right, this person is that. It's like, maybe you should be. Maybe it is going to be somebody who's playing a poker game when you want to play Go Fish. But this is something that you can deal with. This is something that you have the opportunity to deal with. Again, a new day. Look at everything as though it's new. Take a chance on experimenting. Listen, for whoever this is for, I didn't read the cards of what the reading was last week. I do keep track of them just in case, because I want to keep track of how the deck itself is handling. But I don't read them before I do the spreads. I pull clear. I start with whatever the image the guides give me. For somebody, this is a love reading. Some Capricorn out there, this is about asking you to look, if not in a specific love situation, it's asking you to reevaluate how you have played the game of love, how you have repeated your patterns in it or themes in a way that has not worked for you, and what you can do, how you can look at this differently. So my Capricorn, whoever you are, you have that little love angel over your left shoulder, and I'm being told, remind him, over your left shoulder. Sometimes when you feel as though you are at a loss as to how to do this whole love thing, call in your love angel. Of course, all angels, only divine presence, nobody else. And if you feel something over your left shoulder, that is probably an energetic reminder of an angelic presence, a divine presence. I almost want to call it a sprite, a fairy. It doesn't feel like it's not a big honking angel, but it's just this little playful thing kind of there to remind you, hey, you can lighten up a bit. You have what it takes to be able to set boundaries. Okay, as long as you stay in kindness to yourself and watch your ability to respond, and you do this in a way where you are willing to be in the energy that allows you to perceive things clearly, not judging out of hand, but also not, again, it's with boundaries. You gotta have boundaries. We don't want you down on your knee in the restaurant on the second date or stalking somebody. That's not what we want. Boundaries, okay? Healthy boundaries can allow you to move forward. That's it, my friend. I don't know who you are, but I have a great week. Take care.